Let me ask you something slightly illegal. Why does saying no to someone feel like you're committing emotional tax fraud? Think about it. You tell someone, "Sorry, I can't help you right now," and suddenly they look at you like you just canceled their Netflix account. Meanwhile, if they say no to you, you're like, "Sounds good, have a great life." It's wild. We've mastered technology, medicine, AI, but apparently not the simple art of not rearranging our entire afternoon because someone needs a quick favor that ends up taking 3 business days. So today, let's flip the script. Your life. Your rules. Let's fix this madness. Tell me if this sounds familiar. You're finally having a peaceful moment, maybe enjoying your tea, maybe watching a video, maybe mentally preparing to start that new habit you've promised yourself every Monday since 2019. And suddenly your phone buzzes. "Hey, quick question." "Ah yes." The phrase that has ruined more weekends than bad Wi-Fi. You stare at the message like it's a bomb you're supposed to defuse. Because you already know what's coming. A quick favor that is never, in the history of humanity, actually quick. A 5-minute task that mysteriously evolves into a whole afternoon of emotional labor and regret. But you hesitate. You want to say no. You really want to say no. And yet your brain immediately decides to betray you. If I say no, they'll think I'm rude. If I say no, they'll be upset. If I say no, I will crumble into dust and cease to exist. So you say yes. Even though you're tired. Even though you had plans. Even though your mental energy is basically running on 1% battery and the phone keeps saying low power mode enabled. And then later, when you're doing that unwanted task, you're thinking, why do I keep doing this? Why do I treat everyone else's priorities like they're more important than my own? You're not dramatic. You're not weak. You're not too nice. You're just stuck in that awkward cycle where your kindness gets weaponized, and your desire to avoid conflict makes you volunteer for things you didn't even want to be part of. If this sounds like your life, breathe. You're understood. You're normal. And you're exactly who this video is for. Because you shouldn't need a PhD in emotional courage just to protect your own time. Let's fix that. Alright, let's talk about the biggest mistake everyone makes when trying to stop being the human version of a do not disturb sign that nobody reads. Most people think the solution is simple. I just need to say no more often. Cute. Adorable. Also about as effective as trying to fix a broken tap by just staring at it aggressively. People hype themselves up like they're about to go into battle. This time I'm going to be firm. I'm going to stand my ground. I will not cave. And then someone casually asks, "Hey, can you help me with something real quick?" And your mouth, without your permission, goes, "Yeah, sure. Not a problem at all." Not a problem? It is a problem. It's your problem. But your autopilot people-pleaser mode answered faster than your brain could file an objection. Another classic mistake? Trying to set boundaries silently. You don't say no. You don't say yes. You just hope they'll magically sense your inner discomfort like some emotional Wi-Fi signal. Spoiler, they won't. People can barely sense your tone in a text message, forget your internal suffering. Then we have the yes now, resentment later method. This one might be familiar. You agree to something you didn't want to do, then spend the next 4 hours muttering things like, "Why do they always expect me to do everything? Do I look like a part-time employee in their personal life? Please leave me alone, I'm begging you internally." And of course, there's the worst advice ever created by planet Earth. Just be more assertive. Thanks Karen, I'll just flip the assertive switch in my brain real quick. Didn't realize I had one. Most advice forgets that humans are emotional creatures. We feel guilt. We fear disappointing people. We don't want conflict. We don't want to look like the villain in someone else's story. So when people tell you just say no, it completely ignores the emotional weight behind the word. You're not struggling because you don't know how to say no. You're struggling because of what saying no means in your mind. And how you think others will react. That's why the common approach fails. It treats you like a machine with a boundary button, instead of a human being with a heart, a conscience, and a lifelong habit of prioritizing everyone except yourself. But don't worry. The real solution? Way smarter, and way easier. Here's the truth most people never admit out loud. You're not trying to escape other people's demands because you hate helping. You're trying to escape the feeling of living a life that doesn't feel like yours. Deep down, you want something incredibly simple: freedom. Not the dramatic move to another country and reinvent your identity kind of freedom. Just the everyday freedom to choose how you spend your time, energy, and attention. You want to feel respected. You want to feel in control. You want to make decisions without that little voice in your head going, "Will they be mad? Will I look selfish? Will they think I don't care?" What you're really searching for is the confidence to value your own priorities without guilt. To stop living by other people's expectations and finally start living by your own. Because the goal isn't to say no more. The goal is to say yes to your own life. Alright, now let's get into the heart of this whole your life, your rules transformation. If everything so far has been the trailer, this is the actual movie. The core principle you need to understand is this. People don't respect your boundaries, because you treat them like suggestions, not rules. Not intentionally. Not because you're spineless. But because somewhere along the way, you learned that other people's comfort matters more than your own. So your boundaries became soft, flexible, negotiable. And here's the truth nobody tells you. The world responds to what you tolerate, not what you want. Let me explain. 1. Your yes has lost its value. Think about money. If someone prints too much of it, it becomes worthless. Same with your time. If you say yes to everything, big tasks, small tasks, annoying tasks, "Can you help me with this tiny thing?" tasks, then your yes stops feeling meaningful. People don't treat it like a valuable resource. They treat it like a vending machine. Press a button, you show up. Not because they're evil. Just because humans operate on patterns. You've trained them to expect your availability, even when it costs you. 2. You're not saying yes, you're avoiding discomfort. Most people don't say yes because they want to. They say yes because saying no feels scary. Saying yes avoids awkwardness. Avoids disappointing someone. Avoids the tiny risk of conflict. Keeps the relationship smooth. Makes life easier in the moment. But here's the trick your brain plays on you. Short-term peace creates long-term chaos. Sure, the moment feels easier when you agree, but you pay for it later with stress, resentment, and a calendar that looks like a crime scene of overcommitment. You sacrifice future you to protect present you from a 5-second uncomfortable moment. 3. Your time feels flexible because you never made it non-negotiable. Most people don't see your time as sacred because you don't show that it is. When someone asks you to help, you check your calendar like this. Yeah, I think I can squeeze it in if I move this, cancel that, skip my break, and cut my meal down to 3 bites. But what if you treated your time like people treat their charging cable when their phone is at 2%? With absolute seriousness. Like, do not touch this. Do not disturb. I need this for survival. You have to treat your own time as something you protect, not something you donate. Because here's the big insight. If you don't honor your boundaries, nobody else will. 4. People follow the energy you give. Imagine you're standing guard at the door of your own life. If you say, yeah, you can come in, I guess, but please be gentle, and only stay for a little bit, unless you need more time. People treat your boundaries like a suggestion box. Now imagine you say, I'd love to help, but I'm not available for that today. Clear. Calm. Confident. No drama, no guilt-flavored explanation, no unnecessary life story. People immediately adjust. Not because you scared them, but because you communicated with certainty. Your energy tells people how to treat you. When you're unsure, they become unsure. When you're firm, they respect the firmness. When you're clear, they adjust to your clarity. Humans mirror each other's emotional tone. Always. 5. The real power move, neutral boundaries. Most people mess up boundaries because they deliver them emotionally. They say no with guilt, shame, panic, over-explaining, apologizing, and unnecessary emotional weight. And guess what? People interpret your discomfort as negotiability. But if you deliver boundaries the way you'd say, "Sorry, the store is closed," with a calm, neutral, matter-of-fact tone, it changes everything. No is just no. Not a crisis. Not a personal rejection. Not a moral failing. It's simply an unavailable option. Neutral boundaries feel like this. I can't do that today, but I hope it works out. I'm not available for that right now. I appreciate you asking, but I'm passing on this one. Clean. Simple. Zero explanation needed. 6. You need to shift from people-pleasing to self-respecting. This isn't about becoming selfish. It's about balancing the equation. People think self-respect is some grand spiritual thing. Nope. Self-respect is just making decisions based on what's healthy for you, instead of what's convenient for someone else. It's picking yourself first. Not every time. But at least often enough to stop feeling like a walking favor dispenser. Because here's the truth. Every time you say yes when you wanted to say no, you betray yourself a little. And the more you betray yourself, the harder it becomes to trust yourself. But when you protect your time, energy, and priorities, you rebuild that trust. You grow confidence. You feel stronger, clearer, more grounded. 7. You teach the world how to treat you, subtly, quietly, daily. This is the main principle in a single sentence. Boundaries aren't something you tell people. Boundaries are something you consistently demonstrate. If you always respond instantly, people expect instant responses. If you always say yes, people expect yes. If you drop everything for others, they assume you have nothing to drop. Your habits train the world. But the good news? You can retrain it. Slowly, gently, without drama. You don't need a speech. You don't need to justify. You don't need to transform into a hyper-assertive alpha tiger. You just need to consistently behave as someone whose time is valuable. Because here's the magical thing. Once you believe your time matters, everyone else will too. 8. The internal shift. The real transformation isn't external. It's internal. It's the moment you realize, I don't have to earn rest. I don't have to justify my no. I don't owe everyone access to my time. I'm allowed to choose myself without being a villain. That's the mindset shift that changes everything. It turns chaos into clarity. Resentment into confidence. People-pleasing into self-respect. Picture this, it's Saturday morning. You've finally carved out some me time. Maybe you're sipping tea, maybe you're diving into that personal project you've been procrastinating for months. The sun is shining, your favorite playlist is on, and for once, life feels like it's actually in your corner. Then, ding! Your phone buzzes. It's your friend Sam. Hey! Can you help me pick out curtains for my living room? I really need your opinion. Curtains. On your sacred Saturday. During your personal time. Your brain goes into full panic mode. If I say no, they'll think I don't care. If I say yes, my whole day is gone. Maybe I should just move and hide under a blanket until this crisis blows over. Old you would have said yes immediately. Of course, Sam. I'll be there in 5. New you, the one practicing boundaries, takes a 3-second pause. Just 3. That's all it takes to switch off autopilot. Then you respond calmly. Hey Sam, I'm actually tied up with my own stuff today. But send me some pictures, and I can give you feedback later this week. Look at that. You didn't abandon your peace. You didn't sound harsh or rude. You just communicated clearly, honestly, and respectfully. Sam's reaction? Could go either way. Cool. Thanks. Ideal. Or oh, okay, I guess, the guilt trip, but that's their problem, not yours. And the best part? You return to your tea, open your laptop, and dive into your project. No resentment, no burnout, no wasted energy. This little scenario shows exactly how the principle works in real life. You don't have to be mean or confrontational. You just need clarity, a pause, and the courage to honor your own time. It's a small step, but it's the kind of step that builds a life where your rules actually matter. Alright, let's turn all this theory into action. Here's how you can start protecting your time and setting boundaries today without feeling guilty. Step 1. Pause before answering. When someone asks for a favor, don't respond immediately. Take 3 seconds, long enough to break autopilot, short enough that it doesn't feel awkward. This tiny pause gives your brain the space to think, do I really want to do this? Step 2. Use the soft no plus option technique. You don't have to say a hard, robotic no. Something like, I'm tied up today, but send me details, I'll check it out later. Or, I can't this week, maybe next. This keeps relationships smooth while protecting your energy. Step 3. Protect your peak hours. Decide when your most productive or peaceful hours are, morning, afternoon, evening, and treat them as sacred. During these times, politely decline non-essential requests. Your time is your most valuable asset, treat it that way. Step 4. Stop over-explaining. You don't owe anyone a 10-minute TED talk about why you can't help. A simple, honest reply is enough. I'm not available today. Short, firm, and guilt-free. Step 5. Expect some discomfort. Your brain and the people around you will resist this change at first. That's normal. Boundaries feel uncomfortable until they become a habit. Stick with it. Step 6. Reward yourself. Every time you successfully say no or protect your time, acknowledge it. A little self-pat on the back reinforces the behavior. Over time, respecting yourself becomes second nature. Start applying these steps today, even with small favors. Every tiny boundary you set is like a deposit into your personal freedom bank. Here's a trick I like to call the tiny CEO in your head. Every time someone asks you for a favor, imagine a miniature version of yourself sitting at a sleek CEO desk inside your brain. Tiny you is wearing glasses, sipping coffee, and has a stack of papers labeled My Life, My Rules. On the desk is a big red stamp that says, Decision Time. When a request comes in, Tiny CEO evaluates it. Does this align with your priorities? Do you actually have the time and energy? Will saying yes drain you or empower you? If the answer is yes, Tiny CEO stamps it approved. If the answer is no, the stamp says not today. That's it. No guilt, no long explanations, no awkward mental loops. Why it works: your brain loves visuals and simple rules. By picturing a confident, tiny decision maker inside your head, you shift from emotional autopilot to deliberate choice. It's almost silly, but ridiculously effective. Next time someone asks something of you, picture Tiny CEO calmly making the call. It's fun, it sticks in your memory, and it turns boundary setting into a mental game you actually enjoy playing. Hint, that CEO? That's you. Here's the truth: your life only becomes unstoppable the moment you stop letting everyone else drive it. Saying no doesn't make you selfish, it makes you responsible, focused, and free. It's about protecting your energy, your time, and your peace. Boundaries aren't walls, they're bridges to a better life. They let you show up fully for the people and projects that truly matter, without constantly sacrificing yourself. The people who respect your time will naturally stick around, and the ones who don't, well, they'll adapt, or fade out. And that's perfectly okay. Start small. Pause before answering. Protect your sacred hours. Visualize Tiny CEO making the calls. Repeat. Over time, you'll feel lighter, more confident, and shockingly in control of your own story. If this video resonated, hit like, subscribe, or check out my next video for more mindset hacks and life strategies. And most importantly, remember this: your life, your rules. Start today, because the only permission you need to live fully is your own.